So last week, we talked about some of the laws that were given to the Jewish people when they were at Mount Sinai, and then they followed them afterward. And we talked about the 40-day blessing, which we still do in the church. We're doing one today. And how this is something that the ancient Jews did because of impurity and fear, and we do it because Jesus did it, and therefore we imitate him. So what was prophesied in the law is now fulfilled, and we observe that fulfillment. Now I said there's something in the law that the Jews did that we still do, and there was something else in the law that the Hebrew people were commanded to do that we absolutely do not do. So, and that is, have any of you ever been to a slaughterhouse? All the animals hung up there by their hocks, draining of the blood. Okay. How many of you have been to a barbecue? Okay, more like that. So, the temple in Jerusalem and the tabernacle in the desert would have smelled something like a combination of the slaughterhouse and the barbecue, because you would have the smell of blood throughout the temple, because that's how they worshiped God. Anytime they came to the temple, they had to bring an offering, and sometimes they might bring a drink offering of wine or a grain offering, but mostly they brought burnt offerings, which means they brought an animal. Had to be a perfect lamb or bull or goat or sheep. They sacrificed lots of things depending on what it was for. And they would cut the throat and spill the blood at the base of the altar and cut up the animal and place it on the altar, and it would be burned, which means it would barbecue, except it would keep on burning until it was done. Now, we don't think about this because none of us have ever gone to a place of worship that kills animals and burns them, I assume. I never have gone there. We usually have the church service first, and then we burn the animal and eat it, right? Except we don't burn it, because no self-respecting Greek or Arab would be ever caught burning a lamb. It's too good for that, right? Now, there's a word that we say as we start to do the liturgy, and it's important. In a sense, it's the most important word in the liturgy, although there are a lot of those. We say, we offer you once again this sacrifice without the shedding of blood. Except in Greek, it's one word, anemakton, without the shedding of blood. We don't do that anymore. What do we offer when we come to the church? Two things. What do we offer? Bread and wine. Thank you. This is what we bring to Christ. So why do you think the Jews were commanded to sacrifice animals with the shedding of blood? Because it looked like wine, that's a good answer. Or maybe we use wine because it looks like blood. But there's more than that. Okay. Who died so that we could live? Jesus. And in the Bible, you'll see it says a few times that he is the Lamb of God. He's a lamb, a sacrificial animal, slain from the foundation of the world. It says this sacrifice, this crucifixion was intended, was foreordained from the moment that we and this universe were created. God intended this. He intended to unite himself with our broken humanity and to heal us and unite us with him once again by means of this. And it is because this is the only way that God could be united with man, by God becoming man and submitting to death himself, because we all die, so he submitted to death too. And because he was going to die, when it was time to tell the Jews how to worship him, God said, there can be no forgiveness, there can be no reconciliation without the shedding of blood. So bring your best animals when you have sinned, when you have a new child. For any occasion, bring your best and kill them and shed their blood, because there is no salvation without shedding of blood. But we do our worship without the shedding of blood, because Christ already shed his blood. He has wiped away our offenses. He has reconciled us to him. And now we offer not our animals, we offer ourselves. Because what do the bread and wine represent? First, though, what do the wine and the bread represent? What are they? How do they get made? Well, we make them. We take seeds and we plant them in the ground and we water them and we prune them and we weed around them to make sure that they grow up. That's a lot of work. That doesn't happen just from one person, but from all of us working together. The same with the grain. You can't just grow a single plant of wheat and say, now I'm going to make bread from this. You need a field. You need sustained, ongoing work of a whole human community to make bread and make wine. And this is what we bring. Bread and wine represent us, because we're not offering animals anymore. We're offering Christ ourselves. And then he takes what we offer him. This is important. He takes what we offer him, the bread and the wine, and he gives them back to us as himself. He has already done the sacrifice. That's done. We don't repeat that. We remember it. We participate in it. We give ourselves to God, and he gives himself to us. And we are filled with his life. That's what we do. We don't kill animals anymore. I don't generally get my hands particularly bloody, right? I'm a priest, not a butcher. It's a joke. Think Star Trek. Anyway. We offer bread and wine, which represent all of us and all the world. We offer it to God, and he gives himself to us. And we are healed. And that is how we worship God. Similar, connected to what the Jewish people were commanded to do in the wilderness, but entirely and completely different. So, offering ourselves to God. Stand up. Please go to the back and come forward to take communion, but make sure you let Nicole Beretta come first, because she was chrismated today. Metaphor